Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to another broadcast here on Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome again to a special event in association with Sim Racing Magazine. I hope you are all very well, and I hope you've had a wonderful new year, and I apologise for the ridiculous volume of my microphone just then. I've only just had it made aware to me that my levels are a lot higher than they normally are, but we are here at my beloved Oulton Park, my very favourite circuit in the world. I only live a couple of miles down the road from this place, and it is great to be having some solid racing going on here. The guys are just out at the moment, and they are currently setting some times in practice, but we are soon to have a very quick qualifying session, which will go by in the blink of an eye, and then we're going to have a race straight after that with a pit stop forced as well. The drivers in this race will only have 33%, a third, give or take, of this Porsche 992 Cup car's usual fuel tank. So they will have to pit around this. We're using the full international layout tonight. And we're going to be going all the way up to the Shell Oils hairpin using the Britain chicane, big run down to Knickerbrook, and then of course up to the legendary Druids, and then Lodge. What a fantastic place to be, though, eh? What a fantastic place to be. So, drivers that are out there at the moment then. Stephen Haley is currently 4th fastest, but there is half a second between him and the fastest man on circuit, which is this guy. Oh, well, it was that guy. Mark Baxter Jones. His teammate Johnny Elia is currently 2nd fastest as well for 11 tenths. These guys with that beautiful, beautiful livery on their car. Both have been doing very well so far this season in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. We also have Mark Johnson out there in this gorgeous tribute livery as well, stopping very conveniently right in front of the camera there. We also have Fausto Pinto just stopping. Now there will be a driver's briefing at the end of this practice session, so you can expect to see the cars just chilling for a minute or so. This is Stephen Haley going to the line. We also have out there tonight, in probably one of the best liveries you will see. I'm just trying to see if he is out there. I'm pretty sure... he's a bit further down the order. Just bear with me 2 seconds, because I have to update something on my timing here. That's why you can see it all moving around frantically. It'll do it again just now. There is this man in the Scuderia Chicken House car, Andrew Shepherd. This wonderful livery was brought to the attention of Peter Mackay and I at Imola in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. I mean, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? Look at it. Look at it. Great to have you here with me on the channel, though. We are streaming to YouTube, my Facebook page, and to Twitch as well this evening. I'll be looking at the comments directly on the YouTube channel, so if you do want to interact and have your say, then please do pop over to YouTube, where I'll say hello if you're about. And Fausto Pinto is still sat there at the moment, just waiting on the way down to Cascades. A couple of other drivers just getting their times in on the board. Stephen Haley's car as well, the SimSport Racing International machine, looking beautiful. They had their touring car series start around here in the week. Actually, just yesterday or the day before, I believe. You can see Fausto Pinto still sat there. All the way up now to Shell Oils hairpin. Stephen Haley goes. We'll go on board with him, shall we? Look at the camber on this corner here. It's pretty incredible. He's putting a lot of lock on there to get it around. The corner sort of flattens off on the exit. Very difficult to get right. Down towards Britain's we go. Hard onto the brakes. One way, then the other. You have to have so much commitment to get through there properly. It's not easy at all. Over hilltop. Spent many an afternoon there spectating as a kid. on the left-hand side into the Knickerbrook chicane. Now, this has been made a lot bigger over the years. This is Knickerbrook here. You can see a lot of cars will go off to the right-hand side there if they just dip a wheel, left rear wheel, onto the gravel. It will spit them out to the right-hand side, up Clay Hill towards Druids, double apex right-hander, and a very tricky one at that. It dips down in the middle of the corner after the first apex, then goes up over a crest on the second part. And then you've got the very bumpy braking zone into Lodge Corner. We'll stay with him as we come up Deer Leap over the start-finish line, which is very far from straight or flat either. It's very bumpy. Again, bumpy braking zone into Old Hall Corner. Late apex here, over the crest, manage the car on the exit, and then down the avenue through the quick right kink. You can see the circuit drop away there for Cascades. Very, very challenging corner. And then away, back down the hill past the lake. Want to give a quick shout out as well to Crockery Direct, who, as ever, will be providing some medals and certificates for drivers during this race. They will get a medal and a certificate for finishing first, second or third. One will be given out for the fastest lap, one to the safest driver, and one to the most places gained in the race. And this event, oh, Stephen Haley has a big old moment. How he saved that, I do not know. Love a bit of that. We do have Gary Tall racing with us this evening. There is Gary in his stand-up to cancer livery. But he is using a simulator by Race at Home, which is the home of Ultimate Sim Racing hardware. And they have sponsored tonight's event as well. Their link is in the description. But Gary is using one of their rigs for this evening. Here's Carl Sharkey. Another driver that is a regular and a very, very fast guy from Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. You can see a lot more of them out on track now. Charlie Stout is back with us as well. Qualified 7th in Car 7 at Spa Francorchamps not too long ago. And he's back there again right now. He finished 7th at Spa as well. Had a fantastic debut here on the channel. Got Heinz Mayer of Crockery Direct with the big fragile stickers down the side of the car. Love a bit of that. Stephen Kershaw, Night and Day Racing, goes up the hill in that very, very fancy livery. We've also got Mike Rowe out there in the big donut branded car. Love that thing as well. Peter Brill is with us. The very shiny orange creation, the 121 machine. A little bit of damage on the left rear there of Peter's car. Not sure if he's just had a bit of a tap with the wall as he's gone along. And we've got Andrew Soper in the the emergency blood doning machine. Hopefully he isn't shedding any blood this evening. Paul Goffin in one of the Martini branded cars. Gorgeous colour scheme once again. We also have Ralph Mayer, not just Heinz Mayer, but Ralph Mayer in the other Crockery Direct car. Love the sort of honeycomb, or at least honey splashed design of this car. Looks absolutely awesome, doesn't it? That's the number 990 car. We have Tom Slater as well out on track, another quick guy from PCGB. In this lovely Jameson livery. Hope the colours and everything look alright, by the way. I've just done a bit of adjustment to some of the colour scheme here on iRacing and a bit of the colour scheme, the contrast as well. This is Andrew Marston, the man himself from Sim Racing Magazine, who helps put all this together with me. And he's had a bit of a spin down at Knickerbrook, it seems, and into the pits he goes. Here's Byron Crawford, the source of many a pun between Peter Mackay and I, with his Blinds to Go branding on the car, using the factory Porsche livery. Great to see you guys in the chat as well. Jakub Szymanski, good to see you, mate. Colin Wynn up there as well. It's just great to watch these cars around this circuit, isn't it? Such a lovely, lovely place to be. Trying to see if there's anybody else. We've got Oliver Ettridge coming back out. He shares the livery with Charles Rainford with slight different colour scheme on it. Still looks great though, doesn't it? So we've not got long now until qualifying. The cars will actually all just disappear in just a sec. Well, there you go. That happened before you knew it. And now it's going to be time for qualifying. Who is first out? Johnny Elia is very eager. We'll see what Johnny does on his warm-up lap at least, shall we? 20-minute qualifying session. Straight out the pits and straight on with it then. Look at the way that the car moves around through cascades. You can see at the bottom there, we're going to get sectors by sectors from some of the drivers. It's a really, really good feeling when you accelerate properly out of the shell oils hairpin and get away. Really good feeling. Mark Baxter Jones there chasing his teammate down. And 2:11 cars always looking good. Steve Greening in the chat saying, "Come on, me Ettridge." Cheering on the number 97 machine. Here's Gary Tall, by the way. And that lovely stand-up to cancel livery. Really striking car. Tom Slater has had an issue there. Just lit it up maybe a bit too much on the exit of Knickerbrook, and he's gone straight back to the pits. He probably realises those tyres are done. Here's the gorgeous Sacred Coffee branded machine of Dan Bathy, the very, very talented photographer that is Dan Bathy. If you haven't seen any of Dan's work before, go and have a look at it on Instagram after the race. It is breathtaking photography. Now, one of the Petrol Tuga cars that we looked at before was Fausto Pinto. And here he is again in the 101 machine. Lovely chrome teal car. His teammate is João Estevez, another regular in PCGB. Got Mike Rowe off the road, unfortunately. He's had a bit of a moment down there at Deer Leap. And here is the Matmut branded car of Oliver Carwadine. Another great looking machine. Peter and I have had many a joke about the fact that Matmut is a French insurance company. There's, car off the road there. That looked like Stephen Haley on the inside. And it was, and he's got going again, but surely he won't have had as good a run across the line as he'd have wanted there. You can see at the bottom some of the sector times coming in. They will be a little bit brighter yellow than the background of the overlay. Johnny Elia is currently doing some purple sectors. So too is Mark Baxter Jones. So both the 11/10 cars absolutely on it. I will change those sector colours for you because I'm a genius. There you go. So they just go white now when they've completed the sector and it's nothing doing. But across the line goes Johnny Elia. Doesn't set a time. Baxter Jones with a 34.9 though. 1.4 seconds off is Gary Tall. Great stuff from Mark Baxter Jones though. He of course won the race that we did at Spa Francorchamps as a one-off last time as well, our special event. Look at this slide around there. The boss man goes third fastest at the moment. 3.9 seconds off though as things stand. To be fair, Andrew Shepherd only just got in before the session started. He's not out on track at the moment, but he did say that he was going to start from the back because he was worried about being a little bit dangerous with no practice. And Andy here actually boasted that that's his usual spot and he wants to keep it. And Andrew Shepherd, speaking of the devil, he's just put in our Discord chat that he has just had his PC reboot itself on him out of nowhere. You can't park there, mate. Ralph Mayer there off the road. Dan Bathy having a bouncy old time through Druids. Let's see how he gets this settled into Lodge. Over the apex, so difficult to get right. You can see all of the rubber that's been put down on the right hand side there. Chucking it away. Dan Bathy crosses the line. 7th fastest at the moment for Dan, 1:37.0. Who else should we keep an eye on? Well, Johnny Elia and Mark Baxter Jones doing more purple sectors. Let's see what Johnny does. 2nd fastest by 87 thousandths of a second. Just off his teammate. Carl Sharkey is 3rd. That was looking like a big accident for Johnny Elia there. There's another car around. That's Mark Johnson. Oulton Park is not an easy circuit, is it? And this is when he was already off the road, actually. Let's just have a quick look back at this. This is actually when he came back on the road by the look of it, so apologies for that. Can't find the... Ah, no, it didn't actually count him going off the road. I think that's the issue there. He's still going. There's Baxter Jones, Elia, then Gary Tall, 3rd fastest. Baxter Jones has improved on his time, 1:34.8. Can Gary improve? Mark Johnson actually did a purple sector towards the end of his lap. So he's clearly got the pace to be right up there. Down the hill once again then for Mark. Got more times coming in. 15 cars qualified so far. Tom Slater, 9th place currently, just about to finish a lap. And he stays 9th fastest for now. Charlie Stout, he's not in his usual position of 7th at the moment. He's done some personal bests on this lap, so maybe he's going to improve from there. No, still 1.2 seconds off. So it looks like it's the 11/10 cars you want to beat. Oh, was off the road. Goes Carl Sharkey into Shell Oil's Bend. Oh, the back end just steps away from him, and around it goes, and biff into the wall. And that, of course, is exactly where the engine is in the Porsche. So that's not going to have done it any good whatsoever. Byron Crawford is currently 5th fastest. He's having a great run. Not quite sure what keeps happening with the logos, by the way. I realise they're doing a lot of flickering in the top right of the screen. So apologies for that. But Byron's going well at the moment. Oliver Carwadine is currently 7th, just ahead of Stephen Kershaw in the number 19 car. Oh, we've got another car off the road. Andrew Soper this time. Just lighting it up a little bit too much on the exit of the Britain's chicane. He's going to try and get going again without putting the car in the wall. We've still not got times from Stephen Haley. Ralph, oh wow, well that's why you're not going to get a time out of Stephen Haley. He couldn't get the car off the road and out of the way quickly enough. We've not got a time from Oliver Ettridge, who's just there slowing down. We've also not got times from Mark Johnson either. But Stephen Haley there was pushing very hard indeed. We've seen it around Oulton Park before. It's so easy. And that's the thing with Oulton Park. It's one of those very narrow, windy, natural circuits. You know, it's a proper old school track. It's not your very flat Tilcadromes where all the ground is completely flattened. You could see it there as Oliver came towards us. There's a lot of these very smooth bumps that go up and down. They're not sudden changes in the tarmac. You know, they're very gradual bumps that can catch you out big time. Look again as we come here now. Look at the surface there in the background and watch. Look, 1 bump, 2 bump, and then 3 bump into the brakes. And then even more bumps through the braking zone and over a crest again. It is not a smooth circuit at all. Kershaw goes up to 7th place with that time, doing a 1:36.15. Still no time from Stephen Haley. However, I believe right now he is on it. He's done some personal bests in sectors 2 and 5, just completed sector 6. It obviously splits it up into much smaller, more frequent sectors. But Baxter, Jones and Ely are nearly 9/10 of a second clear of everyone else. Across the line goes Stephen Haley. And I feel that may have just been an outlap, so we'll stay on with him now to see whether he can get a time in. He's still got 10 minutes nearly to get this done, so he should be absolutely fine. Look, hesitant on the throttle, car steps out, and that's going to be another incident point and another lap invalidated for Stephen Haley. That is going to be really, really frustrating for him. Might just be pushing a little bit too hard as this session goes on, but it's easy to find the limits here at Oulton Park. If you ever want to shake down a car or test drive it, honestly, bring it to Oulton. Just had an issue for Tom Slater and Carl Sharkey, actually. Oh, Tom's just lost the back end on the way into Druids. You'll see somebody do that in the race, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. This is what happens to Carl Sharkey. On the brakes into the last corner, has to slam on the brakes. Don't think he was expecting Micro to be braking that early there. So it's still Baxter Jones top, 1:34.87. Technically an 8.6, but obviously round it up. Great pace from the 2:11 guys. Gary Tall has gone a bit quicker as well. Stephen Kershaw has improved. João Estevez has now broken into the top 10 in the Petrol Tuga car. He and Fausto Pinto, the 2 Portuguese drivers. We have 2 South African drivers as well. Heinz and Ralph Meyer. Both of them South African drivers. Now we've got Oliver Ettridge still trying to put a time in out there. He does have a novice sticker on the back of the car, so I'm not 100% sure on how much experience he actually has. You do see a number of drivers in sim racing with novice stickers put on ironically. But I particularly remember Oliver having some good battles at Spa Francorchamps. Maybe this is a circuit he's not too familiar with. It actually upsets me sometimes how few people know about Oulton Park. It's such an insanely good circuit. Baxter Jones, by the way, is on a belter of a lap here. He's done some more personal bests and a purple sector in the middle of the lap. Can he go faster than 1:34.8? Oh, the car's run out of fuel. Oh, Mark. He's tried to put as little fuel in as possible for that lap, and it has completely run out. Peter Brill just recovering back onto the road. Not quite sure what happened there. And yes, Jakob, it's quite, how would you say, brash. King Dick Tools. Off the road there goes Byron Crawford. Straight on into the barrier. Let's see how he did that. Onto the brakes. Look, it goes left and then it goes right. It's so easy to snatch a brake. He's just not been able to get it stopped, and we're going to go straight on into the barrier. Gutting for Byron Crawford, but straight back on with it. Gary Tall is off the road now as well. I think he's had an issue on the way into the chicane. Ralph Meyer is also off the road. Cars going off all over the place. There's Peter Brill staying to one side as Paul Goffin goes past him. We've got a 23-car grid here tonight, which is great to have. I'm very grateful to each and every one of them. There will be an exciting announcement as well coming soon from myself and Andrew Marston of Sim Racing Magazine. So do keep your eyes out for it. We look forward to telling you about some of our news. Stephen Haley, by the way, has gone third fastest in the end, within half a second of the pole time, so he's done a mega job there. All the perseverance has paid off. Here is Andy. Currently 18th at the moment. Faster than Ralph Mayer, Mike Rowe and Peter Brill. And Andrew Shepherd, hooray, has managed to get into the session. He's got 5 minutes to put some times in, so he can at least get round 3 times. And if he does manage to make the 4th his fast lap, he could get 3 fast laps in here. And no, unfortunately, Jacob soon does not mean today. No. The announcement will not be today. We will be doing something. I think the best way to say it is in due course. We will be announcing something. Dan Bathy has just improved. He's gone up into 13th position. Although he's only just going through Druid, so I'm not quite sure why that suddenly changed. Maybe he dropped down from another position, actually. Because Oliver Ettridge, yes, has gone 11th. That'll be why. The 97 car just outside the top 10. Mark Johnson has made his way into the top 10. And Oliver pulling over to one side. Here comes Sharkey across the line. A bunch of personal best sectors on this lap for him. And he moves up to 3rd fastest. Great stuff by Carl. Nice tidy lap that. Only a couple of thousandths of a second. 7 in fact. Faster than Stephen Haley. Slater goes up to 6th place as well with a solid time. Within a second of pole. Andrew Shepherd, of course, doing a lot of personal bests because it's his first lap out there, but here he goes. Here he goes into the pits, I guess. Here's the urgent blood machine of Andrew Soper. Through the Shell Oils hairpin. It's crazy to think that the British GT Championship races here with GT3 and GT4 cars every year. It's a terrifying circuit in a GT car. Terrifying circuit in any car, really, unless it's like an MX-5 or something. Doesn't always promote the most overtaking, though, in things like the British Touring Car Championship. You know, the racing is great because it's so close, but it's incredibly hard to overtake here. So you don't often see drivers really making many moves. It's all opportunistic stuff. They just have to sort of sit behind the car in front of you and wait for them to make a mistake. And that's when the positions really do change around. Please do forgive me, by the way, if I save my voice slightly at points of today's broadcast. I do have another broadcast starting at 1:30 in the morning after this, so I do need to save myself for some of that as well. However, it's great that this event has come around so quickly. Really enjoyable stuff watching these Porsches. Had so many brilliant nights watching PCGB. With my good mate Peter Mackay, we've had some good laughs commentating on that. Here's the very noisy view back from Mike Rowe's car. Oh, excuse me. We've got support for Stephen Haley in the chat. He's currently 4th. That is the number 73 of João Estevez just going down the inside of Mike Rowe. It looks to me like... Sorry. João Estevez is on a real mission here. Johnny Ely has done some purple sectors, by the way. Could we be on to see a change in pole? 134.4 by Baxter Jones is absolutely disgusting. He's gone 6/10 quicker than the rest of the field. Elia does improve. Goes within half a second of Mark by just a couple of thousandths, but wow, oh wow. That is an unbelievably impressive time by Mark Baxter Jones, decimating the competition there. Gary Tall has just improved. He goes up to 3rd place now, ahead of Carl Sharkey, who remains just ahead of Stephen Haley. Oliver Carwadine is currently in 9th place. He's about to go for the line, try to improve. No such improvement, I'm afraid. And a big slide through turn 1 as well. Andrew Shepherd not able to get laps in the end. He just sort of did a bit of a sighting lap, I think it is best to say. But the session about to come to an end then. Baxter Jones fastest with Johnny Elia 2nd and then Gary Tall in 3rd. Great qualifying by those guys. And the session should allow them to at least finish their lap times. So we have cars off the road. That was Dan Bathy just moving out of the way. I think Gary Tall has realised he's not going to improve on his time either. Charlie Stout's just going around the final corner. He's not going to go for the line either. What about João Estevez? He's still got Mike Rowe just behind. There goes Estevez pushing hard to the line now. No improvement for him either. Stephen Kershaw now, Night and Day Racing. Crosses the line. No improvement from him either. Andrew Soper pulls over to one side. Paul Goffin also comes into the pits. We've got Peter Brill. He's on a lap out there. Again, the left corner of that wing, though, looking a little bit second hand. Must have just had a bit of a clip into the wall. Bit of a lock-up on the way in. Hard on the power down the hill. Up Deer Leap. Sounded like a bit of a short shift there. Across the line he goes. And he remains in 22nd position. So, that will be qualifying completed then. Although actually, João Estevez has carried on. So the session, I believe, will just be waiting to tick over for João to either complete this lap or it's just making sure that everybody else has finished their laps and he's just taking advantage of the extra time. He should be just disappearing off the screen any second now, to be fair. Into Lodge. You can see the camber of Lodge there, just how steep it is. And he is going for the line, actually. Let's see what time he does. He's got a 1:36.6 to beat. No improvement there from João Estevez. But now, everybody, straight away, it is time to get this show on the road. Mark Baxter Jones then starts on pole position with Johnny Elia alongside him. Then it's Gary Tall and Carl Sharkey with Stephen Haley and Mark Johnson on row 3. Tom Slater and Byron Crawford are on row 4, ahead of Oliver Carwadine and Charlie Stout. Stephen Kershaw starts 11th ahead of Oliver Ettridge, with Dan Bathy 13th and João Estevez 14th. Paul Goffin and Heinz Mayer are on row 8, ahead of Fausto Pinto and Andrew Soper. Our very own Andrew Marston is 19th, ahead of Ralph Mayer, with Mike Rowe and Peter Brill on row 11. Andrew Shepherd in 23rd place rounds out your field. So everybody, place your bets now, because to me, Mark Baxter Jones is certainly the guy to beat right now with that incredible pace. Obviously he won the race at Spa. However, it was Simon Povey that led pretty much every single lap except the last one. Povey went off at the very final corner of the race. I went supersonic in the commentary box and couldn't believe my eyes. But Baxter Jones, as a result of that, took the win. It's the two 11/10 cars on the front row, though, looking to make a strong start of this. Some drivers very, very fine-tuned with their launch control, not lunch control. I need a bit of lunch control, to be honest, but either way, we're going to get going now because the final car has lined up on the grid. And the second special event with Sim Racing Magazine Events and Chaz Draycott Media with Crockery Direct and Race at Home is underway. Looks like a very solid start. Stephen Haley gets a really good launch. He's all over the grass on the left-hand side. Is Johnny Elia going to go down the inside into turn 1? No, he's not. No change there between those two. Bit of shenanigans in the middle of the field there. Plenty of them trying to filter around together. But it's Baxter Jones leading. Haley down the inside there from 5th. Nearly goes a bit too deep into Cascades. They're too wide further back. Nearly contact there between Stout and Kershaw, but really clean racing by everybody early on. Andrew Marston's lost 3 places at the start. Gary Tall had a nightmare of a getaway, and he has lost 4 spots in his current situation. Oh, we've got Charlie Stout off the road, unfortunately, dropping down the order. We'll have a look back at what's happened to him in just a sec, but look at this, into Britain's for chicane for the first time. So scary, so hesitant through there. Everybody making it through, though. Love that shot of them going up the hill. Charlie Stout is back on. Only half a second off the back of the pack. Let's see what happened. Up into the Shell Oils hairpin. Oh, he's just gone in on the inside. Locks it up. Oh, and he's hit Carwadine and then hit the wall. Unfortunately, made a bit of a mess of that one. But Baxter Jones, nice tidy start for him. Stephen Haley, great start as well, up into 3rd position from 5th on the grid. Dan Bathy's had a lot of cars move around him. Speaking of moving around him, João Estevez is doing some big old moving around him. I was going to say Dan Bathy's had loads of cars change like 3 or 4 positions around him, but he's not actually gained or lost one, but he's gained one now. Good stuff by Dan. Real shame for João there, but it's only the end of lap 1. 40-minute race then. Mandatory pit stop in this race. It's going to be very exciting to see how these guys manage the fuel. Great battle has started already here between Tom Slater, Mark Johnson and Gary Tall. They've also got Byron Crawford in there with them, but listen to this Porsche scream. Got Dan Bathy going down the order though, I'm afraid. Dan's had a moment. Oh, and he's gone off on the exit. Oh, Stephen Kershaw's just gone off. Is he going to hit the wall? No, he just avoids it on the inside. Tries to get the car back on as safely as possible at Shell Oils. That's easier said than done. And Charlie Stout's off again. Charlie's done it a second time. This time, doesn't make contact with anyone or anything. Let's see what happens to Dan Bathy. Just on the exit of Cascades. Oh, the car just gets away from him on the bounce. And then clatters into the wall twice on the front left. Kershaw's just gone in a little bit too hot into Shell Oils. And then I believe Charlie Stout's going to do the same. Yep. It's a torridly difficult corner. As the Shell Oils bend up the hill. Now, is that Stephen Haley going slowly? It is. Stephen Haley, I believe, has got a slowdown penalty. And he's undone all of his hard work from the opening lap. He had a fantastic start. But now, Stephen Haley down in 9th place. Charlie Stout's off again. Oh, Charlie. I bigged him up too much at Spa, didn't I? He had an absolute belter of a race at Spa Francorchamps a month or so ago. It's all come undone now. Just swings the back end a little bit too hard on the way into Druids, and that's quite a hefty hit in the wall as well. We've got Peter Brill off the track now as well at turn 1, doing a bit of rally crossing. That was Stephen Kershaw and Andrew Marston just in front. On board with Kershaw now. Spit of flame from Andy's car. Stephen gets a nice run actually down the back straight. Backs out of it though into Shell Oils. Oh, I think Andrew wanted to let him go through there. Andy says, no, mate, off you go. You can have it. Back with your race leader then. Baxter Jones leads it. From Johnny Elia. Carl Sharkey 3rd. Tom Slater started 7th on the grid. He's up to 4th. He's got a hell of a train behind him though. He's doing a fantastic job at the minute. Gary Tall has now lost only 2 places net as the race has gone on. Starting 3rd. Now down to 5th. And Stephen Haley is trying to get on the move once again as he chases down Oliver Carwadine. Let's see what he can do on the brakes. Nothing as of yet. Look at the way the suspension works in these cars. They are so soft and they move around so much. Lovely shots though from on board the cars. It's a bit close further back here. This is Andrew Shepherd. Oh, Peter Brill's dropped it. Just tried a little bit too hard on the power on the exit of Lodge. It's so easy to do that. I'll show you again. Ready, just as that left rear compresses and decompresses on the exit. Oh, excuse me. Very easy to do that. And oh, he's gone off again at turn 1. Avoids the wall, though. Better than Rob Huff did in touring cars a long time ago. Look at the way the cars bounce and dance their way up to Shell Oils there. This is Andrew Shepherd in 20th place. Dan Bathy trying to get through. And getting through. Just about, Dan. Down the inside, sends it. Andrew being nice and accommodating there. Giving him plenty of space. Baxter Jones, by the way, has done the fastest lap of the race on that previous lap. A 1:34.6. Very quick indeed. Biggest mover in the field so far is Andrew Soper, who's gained 4 places. So too has Ralph Mayer. The two of them moving through the pack together, essentially. Just as they go through Druids now. This is Mark Johnson in 6th position. A little bit of no man's land for him at the moment. He's got Byron Crawford about 6/10 back. Oh, just as I jinx Andrew Soper as well. Soper's gone straight on at Lodge. Back on he goes, nice and gentle in coming back on the circuit. Doesn't just plant his foot and try and use all of the power. Which, let's face it, we've all seen people do. We will show you the full amount of cars on the timing tower. I don't see there's any reason not to. We've got all 23 on the left-hand side. Mike Rowe it was that's just overtaken Andrew Soper. I feel I needed a bit of confirmation of that just for myself there. Apologies. Peter Brill's gone off the road again, I'm afraid. He's just lost a little bit of time there. This is Tom Slater. With Gary Tall and Mark Johnson behind. Then Byron Crawford has got a couple of cars chasing him down as well. Oliver Carwadine, Stephen Haley, you can see there just poking out from behind him. Stephen certainly trying to make up some ground for the issues in the opening laps. And that slowdown penalty as well, oh so important to how his race has gone so far. Great riding on board with these cars, isn't it? Really great. Let's go on board with Stephen Haley and see how this looks from his point of view. So they're all pushing so hard through Old Hall. Stephen, one of those drivers where he's so quick, just dancing on the limit of what the car can do all the time. Sometimes going slightly over the limit, but being one of the exciting drivers to watch. Carwadine holding nice and firm at the moment in front of him, though, not letting anything get by. He's always been a solid defender in the Porsche Club of Great Britain as Oliver Carwadine. Look how fine you have to cut it through there, the way the car bounces on the exit as well. So difficult to get right, but in front, Byron Crawford and Mark Johnson are swapping around, are they? Nearly. Byron trying to make it work, trying to make a move as Carwadine's lost it. Carwadine's gone backwards and around, and Stephen Haley, in avoidance, gets overtaken by Oliver Ettridge. Carwadine's still off the road, still sliding down, but look at this by Ettridge. He's going to love this. Sees the guys in front, sees the car go around. Stephen Haley over to the left. Thank you very much, boys. I will see you in a bit. Pure opportunism there by Oliver Ettridge. And now Stephen Kershaw continues his rise back through the pack. As, oh no, Carwadine's race has gone from bad to worse. He's had another off now. Don't think there was any contact earlier. Must have just overheated the tyres when he had that issue. Now Mark Johnson's off. Mark Johnson's off at Cascades. The tyre marks suggest that he clipped the grass on the way in. Let's have a little gander at that, shall we? And he's all on his own. He's going to clip the grass on the left of his shot. Oh, look at that. That's a big old off as well. Backwards into the wall. Bosch indeed. And now he's down in 12th position. This is all playing into the hands of Mark Baxter Jones, though, who has a 2-second lead over his teammate Johnny Elliott. Peter Brill has jumped back to the pits. He's had another incident. I think maybe one incident too many now. Speaking of incidents, those of you that know iRacing's incident point system will know that if you go off track, outside of track limits that is, you get what's known as a 1x or 1 times, 1 incident point. If you lose control of the car, you can get up to 2, and if you have car contact, it can be anywhere from 0 to 4. Some races have incident limits, so you get disqualified on the spot if you exceed them, but iRacing year or so ago introduced drive-through penalties, which get automatically applied if you hit a certain incident point limit, and then after that you can choose whether they have more drive-throughs for every X amount of incident points, or whether they get disqualified. Now, at Spa Francorchamps we had a lot of drivers using a lot of track limits to gain a lot of pace, and we didn't have an incident limit, so the drivers were just going off the track all over the place, and as long as they didn't get a slowdown penalty, they were getting away with it. But here we have a 20 incident point limit before the drivers will get a drive-through penalty. So you can have 20 sort of off-tracks as they're called, or you can have car contact 5 times, which, let's face it, you shouldn't be having. Although these two might have just had it. Mark Johnson and Heinz Mayer have just both been off the road. Mark is still off the road and back to the pits. I feel like he's going to be a very frustrated man right now. So Heinz just runs a bit wide, gets the lock on. Oh, netcode indeed. Netcode all day there for Mark Johnson. He'll be really frustrated with that one. And yes, he is in the pits. So as I was saying, you get 20 incidents before you get a drive-through penalty. And then once you come out after that drive-through penalty, if you get another 10 and reach the incident limit of 30, you will be disqualified on the spot. We figured this would be a fair amount, because you shouldn't really get 30 incidents in 40 minutes. You shouldn't really get 20 in 40 minutes, to be fair. But this circuit is very, very tight and twisty, and it's very easy to pick up off tracks here and go outside track limits. So we needed to try and at least be slightly fair to the drivers. This is Ralph Mayer in 13th position, just chasing down Fausto Pinto at the moment. Looking to the inside. Trying to put on a little bit of pressure at the moment is Ralph. Andrew Soper and Mike Rowe are having a battle. Then again, I say that, Andrew Soper's just been off the circuit for a moment. He's back on now, but did just have a moment according to my timing system. Ralph is pushing hard here to chase down Fausto Pinto. The field currently a little bit spread out at the moment. I'll show you the spread of the machines. That's where they all are at the moment. It's quite a long lap here, even for these Porsche cars, so you can see that they are all spread out nicely. Trying to make sure that the colours and everything work there, but clearly not. Tom Slater, though, holding on to 4th place at the moment. He's got Gary Tall right behind him. Certainly putting on quite a lot of pressure in the number 207 machine. Now that Season 4 Pro number board is for the Porsche Club of Great Britain. They have Pro and Am classes, and Gary is very much a Pro. Slater has been very impressive though. Tom Slater was in the Am class last season, and he's promoted to the Pro class for this season after nearly winning the championship. And he's been very exciting to watch. Very, very quick lad indeed. Now, we've hit the 15-minute mark at the moment during this race. I'm not sure if fuel is going to last even 20 minutes. They only have a third of the fuel tank available, although the fuel tank in these Porsches is pretty substantial, so we may only have to have one pit stop here, because unlike Spa Francorchamps, they're not flat out for that long. Stephen Kershaw's gone off at Shell Oils again. Back on the road he goes, but he's undone more of his hard work. Let's have a look. Oh, Tom Slater, after just saying about how good he is, he's gone off the road big time and he's had an accident. Wow, Kershaw is very lucky not to have hit anything there. Very lucky indeed. Let's have a look at what happened to Tom Slater. Is this going to be on the exit of the chicane? Oh, he's lit it up. Over to the inside of Knickerbrook. And he has to do a 3-point turn. Oh, and he's got it in first gear, not reverse. Oh, Tom, that's absolutely gutting. He's still going, but he's down in 10th position now. He'll be absolutely kicking himself, won't he? Just having a look at lap times. Baxter Jones still doing 1:35.2s. There's only two other cars on track in the 1:35s, and that's Johnny Elia in second place and Carl Sharkey in third. And they're doing 1:35.6s and 9s, so at the moment Baxter Jones still some half a second faster than them, but how can you be? I mean, look at the way that Carl is going through these chicanes. He's driving so well. Started fourth on the grid, has made up one place. A man that is on the move, I must say. Very subtly and under the radar is Mike Rowe. He's gained 7 spots since this race began. So too is the car in front of him as well, Ralph Mayer. So those two currently tied with Paul Goffin as well, who started 15th and is now up into 8th, although João Estevez wants to change that. Round the outside into the chicane might work, not this time. They're tied for the medal that's going to be given out for most places gained at the moment from Crockery Direct. Be great if it went to Heinz Mayer, wouldn't it? Because he is Crockery Direct. Well, Oliver Ettridge, it must be said, despite having what looked like a shaky outlap in qualifying, he's doing a smashing job right now. 6 places gained for him. Started 12th on the grid. Now well inside the top 10. Nearly in the top 5. The car in front of him, Byron Crawford. It's the one that he's after. And Stephen Haley continues his run back through the pack. He's now up into 7th position. But in terms of battles, this is the one to watch. As into the pits goes Mike Rowe. So maybe pitting a little bit earlier than everybody else, but he's playing it safe. So we may have more and more pit stops coming in now. And it's not even the 20-minute mark yet. Andrew Marston also coming in the pits. There he is, making his way down. Very slow pit lane at Oulton. Very small pit lane as well, actually. Mike Rowe, 12 seconds worth of fuel and straight back out. To be fair, Wombat, it probably was commentator's curse. Most of the time it is with me. Strike lightning out of nowhere and I don't even mean to do it. Stephen Kershaw with Dan Bathy right behind him. Two of them glued together as they go over hilltop down towards the Knickerbrook chicane. Dan playing it safe, braking a bit earlier. Following very closely though. Bit of an improved run there by Kershaw as he goes up the hill. Gets a nice launch out of the corner. Into Druids, bit of understeer there from Kershaw, but Dan's tucked it in early. Sometimes the areas you see there doesn't give you the best run off the corner. And he's gone a bit deep there as well. Fausto Pinto into the Fausto Pizzo. Nearly having an accident on the way in. Stephen Kershaw and Dan, who we were just looking at there, go through. Oliver Carwadine, after his excursion earlier, is looking to improve again, as Carl Sharkey's having his very own excursion here. He's doing all right, though. He's still got 7 seconds back to Gary Tall. Let's have a little look at what happened here. Oh, just a bit too quick into the Britain chicane. And as you saw there by the tyre marks on the grass, he's not the first person, nor will he be the last to do that. Up Clay Hill we go. Right then, halfway point then. Baxter Jones still leads. He is the only driver to have done a lap in the 34s so far this race. It was a 34.6. His last lap was a 35.3, which is still multiple tenths quicker than anybody else can get in the field. Johnny Elia, though, is into the pits. He's going to try and undercut his teammate. Be interesting to see how that works for him. Inside the top 10, Stephen Haley is right with Oliver Ettridge. Are either of them going to pit? No. Carl Sharkey is in the pits as well, though. And so too now is Byron Crawford. You can see on the left-hand side those that make their way into the pits. Tom Slater has just overtaken João Estevez, but that is because Estevez has gone into the pits. Whoa, big slide there by Stephen Haley. Said earlier, didn't I, that he's an exciting driver to watch. And he continues to chase after Mr. Ettridge. We've got a number of cars in. Ettridge has a bit of a lock-up on the way in. He's certainly putting the pressure on at the moment. A bit of a blink in and out there for Ettridge. Andrew Soper, for some reason, is showing us in the lead right now. That will sort itself out, I'm sure, very shortly. I think it's just because he hasn't crossed the line yet. There you go. He suddenly drops back down. That did confuse me there. He basically had like one of the only pit boxes before the start-finish line here at Oulton. You can see Marston and Kershaw side by side further up. Or is that actually Gary Tall? It was Gary Tall, sorry. Just lapping Marston. It's down the inside. Little bit of a mistake there from Ettridge. Now, does he want to pit? That's the next dilemma. Yeah, he does. He does want to pit, does Ettridge. And fair play to him. He still gets into the pits ahead of Stephen Haley. Wow, that was a close one, wasn't it? That was a very, very close one indeed between those two. Mark Baxter Jones is back out on track. Where is Johnny Elia? There he is. Look at the rubber marks on the road there. You can see where the cars skip along on the brakes. Carl Sharkey was third, and he is going to go past the other guys. Ettridge is out of the pits a lot sooner than Stephen Haley. Now, where is the next man? Byron Crawford. He's nowhere near, I'm afraid. So Ettridge and Haley do hold on to their positions. Although Gary Tall is just about going to stay ahead of Byron Crawford. So after the first stops, and what will probably be the only stops this race, it is still Mark Baxter Jones that is dominating so far. It's been an incredible drive. And he currently has a 6-second lead over his teammate. João Estevez and Paul Goffin have been reintroduced as they go down towards the Shell Oils bend. Sorry, that's the Island bend, I apologise. It's the Shell Oils hairpin in the Island bend. There's the Island hairpin and the Island bend. I should really know my local circuit better than that, shouldn't I? Either way, great pressure being put on by João Estevez right now. Just inside the top 10 as well, these boys. Oh no, Stephen. Oh, Stephen. Andrew Soper's been off the circuit as well at the same time. We'll see what happened here. Oh, just swings the car too far over to the left. And around it goes. Andrew's just run a little bit deep at Cascades. Does a little bit of grass track in there, a bit of lawn mowing, but nothing to write home about. But Stephen Haley has now dropped a couple more places in his 7th. I said earlier, didn't I? Very, very quick, but always on the limit. Still been a very entertaining part of this race, that's for sure. But we need to look back at this, though. The battle just inside the top 10 between João Estevez and Paul Goffin in the Martini branded car. Because I believe we have a Tom Slater off the road, just up the road. Ah. Yeah, there's Tom. Doing a bit of backwards lawn mowing this time. Let's see what happened here. It's easy to lose it through Old Hall Corner. It's over a crest. It's a late apex. It's a nightmare. Oh, the car's got a wobble on. Oh, he's tried to keep in it as well. And it just skates over to the wall. And then gets it backwards. We'll go on board just to show you how easy it is to do that. Watch. Clips the apex nicely. Just runs a little bit wide. Catches it. Keeps his foot in. And just over that bounce there. There was actually a mini. I think it was James Lukes in the Mini Challenge UK this year. Had a similar incident to that. Ran wide. Out of turn 1. Started bouncing across the grass and eventually lost the rear end, and it hit the wall, and it ended up rolling all the way down the hill towards Cascades on its side. It was a humongous accident from something that was just an innocent little over sort of exuberance through a corner. It's quite incredible. Incredible for him in all the wrong ways, unfortunately. We look back now from Paul Goffin and João Estevez then, so they're not 9th and 10th anymore. 8th and 9th they find themselves. Some near 40 seconds off the race lead though. Baxter Jones is just in a different league. Him and Johnny Elia especially have just been incredible because... Oh no, João! Oh, João lights it up. Does the whole two-footed save tactic by slamming on to try and keep the car straight. But unfortunately, all he does there is lose time. Now that's Heinz Mayer behind him. He's the next car to try and challenge the Portuguese driver. But what I was going to say is that Sharkey, Ettridge, Tull, Crawford even, these guys are not slow at all, but just Baxter Jones and Elia just in a different league at the moment. It's incredible to watch. Johnny Elia, by the way, an incredibly talented video editor. He did a lot of videos for Porsche Club of Great Britain, sim racing series. And I fancy myself as a bit of a video editor. I've done it for a long time, but nothing on what Johnny can do. Seems like it takes him half as long as well to produce content that's 4 times as good. Brilliant, really is brilliant. But if you do look on the 11 and 10th's YouTube page, if you can find them, you'll see some of their videos from different circuits, different races that they've done. I believe actually Johnny put up a video from our previous event that we did with Sim Racing Magazine, showing us just how impressive the racing was at Spa Francorchamps. So this is Dan Bathy on the back now of Tom Slater. These two have had some battles before as well in PCGB. Just over 10 minutes away from the end of this race now. It looks like Mark Baxter Jones can't be stopped. 6.6 seconds the lead to his teammate Johnny, although Johnny's starting to rein him in a bit on this lap. I must say, gap has definitely changed. I want to apologise again for the issues with the logos in the top left. I know it keeps flickering. I really don't know why it does that. It's something I've tried to fix for a very, very long time. But of course, we must thank Race at Home, raceathome.co.uk. Fantastic place to get all of your sim racing hardware, really high-end sim racing hardware as well. Gary Tall is actually racing on one of their rigs this evening. That's probably why he's doing so well, up in 5th position. Did qualify 3rd though. And of course we need to thank Crockery Direct for providing certificates and medals as well for our podium finishes. The driver with the fastest lap, the safest driver, that's the driver with the least amount of incident points, and the driver with the most places gained over the course of the race. So everybody, rightly so, getting their shout outs. Tom Slater off again. Dan Bathy going through, and Stephen Kershaw going through. Oh, he's had a similar incident to last time, just taps the grass and catches him out. Now, Joachim Winkelhock very famously in the early 90s called Oulton Park a mini Nürburgring, because you're surrounded by trees, you've got grass either side of you, barely, well, no runoff anywhere pretty much. A very unforgiving circuit that's very narrow and undulating. And he says when you get it right, it's absolutely brilliant. So he did rightly so called it a mini Nürburgring. And again, just adds to the shame that so many people don't seem to know about Oulton Park. One of the real selling points for iRacing for me was the fact that Oulton Park was on it. It's very seldom seen in the world of racing games and sim racing. There's many a mod out there for it for things like R-Factor and Assetto Corsa, but iRacing's laser scan version is pretty immense. The way that all the bumps are smoothly mapped as well, and they can really catch drivers out. They're done so accurately. That's why we love the sim. It's an old scan of it now, it must be said. And that smoke there was from Tom Slater, who I'm afraid is now out of the race. He's just booted it a little bit too hard on the exit of the hairpin, and I think in frustration, that is the end of his race. It's a real shame that, because Slater was going so well early on, and then I had to commentate to curse him. So Tom, I owe you one. This is Charlie Stout, another driver that was doing incredibly well early on, but just had a handful of little offs and incidents. He's got Andrew Shepherd and Mike Rowe right in front of him. To the clunkiness of the gearbox as it changes down here. No PDK in this thing, is it? As Charlie chases down Andrew Shepherd and Mike Rowe. Nice progressive steering inputs there from Charlie, nice and smooth. He's son of, I believe, Paul Stout, who races again in Porsche Club of Great Britain. That's where I know most of these drivers from. That's where I met Andy Marston and all the other guys that help him out. Charlie, though, has got a bit of a battle brewing in front of him right now. Oh, excuse me. Mike Rowe has quite a bit to look back at. I quite like the agate reference there with the horse on the side of the car. Hadn't noticed that before. These three sounding and looking great together, though. Three of the nicest liveries on the grid, it must be said. Oh, as Charlie Stout puts a hole in it. Through the chicane he goes. He's going to get an almighty slowdown. Oh, he needs to be careful about rejoining on the racing line. Oh, he just overdid it on the brakes slightly. Oh, he's already off at that point. Apologies. Don't think we're going to be able to get that. It's a real shame to hear, Tom. For those of you that don't see it, Tom's just commented in the YouTube chat saying that it's more like a COVID curse rather than a commentator's curse. He thought he'd be alright, but it got the better of him tonight. I hope you recover soon, mate. I hope you're alright. But hats off to you for at least pushing tonight. Fair play to you, mate. I know how bad it can be. Not first hand, of course, but I've had a lot of people that I know with it as well and know how much it can really floor you. So fingers crossed you recover soon, buddy. Look forward to seeing you racing again very soon. This man, though, he's looking forward to seeing no man anywhere near him anytime soon. 10.6 second lead over his teammate Johnny Elia. 1:35.3 last time round. Johnny Elia did a 36.7. So he's 1.4 seconds quicker on this lap is Mark Baxter Jones. Let's just go on board with him and just give it half a lap and just see how he's attacking some of these corners, how smooth he's being at the moment. Just lovely inputs. Lovely inputs. He's only putting in as much steering as he needs to. He's not overdoing it on the lock. We've seen drivers going through Shell Oils there using 180 degrees of lock. He's using about 90 into Britain's chicane. Quick flick one way, quick flick the other. Nice and smooth on the throttle, back up the hill. Lovely stuff. Porsche Sport in the chat, great to see you. How many Porsches? 24. 23 on the track, one in the pit lane. Thought I'd get that one out of the way. Hope you are well. But Mark is just putting on an absolute masterclass at the moment. This is great to see. Absolutely great to see. And he continues to just pull away from the field time and time again. Doesn't he? Just every single lap. We'll have a look at what his lap time is this time round. Crossing the line now. It takes a moment or so for us to get the lap time. It is a 1:35.3 again. Incredible stuff. Let's see what Johnny Elia can do to try and match that. He did a 1:36.7 last time round. 1:36.8. So he's another 1.5 seconds quicker that time. Baxter Jones now has a 12.4 second lead. That's just absolutely vile pace from Mark. And if he continues this, it will mean that he's won both of the special events that Sim Racing Magazine and I have put together. 100% win record. Certainly impressive, isn't it? Andrew Shepherd in the Scuderia Chicken House car. He is currently on for the medal for most places gained. Although, actually, I say that he's currently tied with this man, Oliver Ettridge. 8 places gained at the moment for both of them. Fantastic drive by Oliver. Started 12th on the grid. Up to 4th at the moment. Oh, Stephen Kershaw's just had a bit of a moment at turn 1. Manages to recover from it. Now here's Heinz Mayer of Crockery Direct with Dan Bathy right behind him in the mid-pack. Carl Sharkey has just gone off the road again. Excuse me. That means Oliver can close right up. Nearly makes it 9 positions gained. Back end stepping out a little bit there through the chicane as well. There's only 3 minutes of this race left to go. There's a few battles shaping up here. Here's Dan Bathy again then. Looks like there was an issue there just in front. Not quite sure who it was for. A little bit of a moment clearly. Some smoke clears. I think maybe Stephen... Actually, it couldn't have been Stephen Kershaw because he's behind us right now. Dan, though, just trying to be a bit patient here, just to line up Heinz for a move. Takes a tighter line on the exit. Knickerbrook gets a nice run up the hill. This is up Clay Hill. Make sure that he's very clear about going to the right-hand side before Druids. You don't want to get hung out to dry too much here. It sounded like there's some sort of contact or some little noise of it there. It's a very noticeable audio cue on iRacing when there is contact made. It certainly sounded like it there, but didn't look like they were close enough for it. Heinz goes down the inside to defend, but Dan's running his own line here. He's playing a really good game. He's just thinking, look, I'm not going to push too hard to make a move. I'm just going to make you defend, and then I'm going to try and take advantage. Although I say that, chucks it down the inside into Old Hall. Heinz carries the speed. But still, stays in front. Great chasing, though, by Dan. We'll go back on board, though, just so you get a real sense of the speed. This is for Dan to try and get into the top 10. Baxter Jones's lead now 14 seconds with that change. Whoa, just had to get out of it there, did Dan. Just had to get out of it. We've got, by the way, another battle here. This is Andrew Shepherd and Mike Rowe. He's trying to get around the outside into Island Bend. Nothing there. They've got Charlie Stout just behind them as well, closing right in on the brakes. Mark Baxter Jones, by the way, is on his final lap of the race now. It's been an unbelievable performance. We'll keep an eye out for him coming to the line. But it means that we'll get another lap of these guys. Dan Bathy and Heinz Mayer. Heinz just holding on to a top 10 spot right now. Clinging onto it. How fragile is that top 10 spot, though? We've only got one more lap to find out. Has Dan had his sacred coffee pod today? Compostable as well. Biodegradable coffee pods from Sacred. Trust me, Peter Mackay's told me about them enough. There you go, white flag in the air then for these guys. You'll see Barney dusting it off on the left-hand side of your screen. But still, Bathy tries to go through. Andrew Shepherd still tries to overtake Mike Rowe. He's trying to go around the outside now into Lodge. Charlie Stout could take advantage of this as well. It's the two Matt Green cars trying to overtake the donut machine. Dan Bathy's gone through. Bathy down the inside at Cascades, leave plenty of room. But into the final corner. I want to see some clap emojis in chat, please, because the dominant, the undefeatable is Mark Baxter Jones. What a drive that was. Absolutely beautiful performance by Baxter Jones. Makes it a 100% win record in these special events that Sim Racing Magazine and myself have put together. Great stuff, Mark. Absolutely great stuff. Johnny Elia makes it an 11/10 1-2. Well done, boys. Well done indeed. They turned up tonight with a mission and they certainly accomplished it. Carl Sharkey gets himself a medal and a certificate, though, for third place. And Oliver Ettridge is on to be the most place gained driver thing. You'll get a medal, basically. Gary Tall finishes 5th. Awesome drive by Gary. Just a shame about his start. Stephen Haley, what a recovery that is to 6th position. Very well done. Byron Crawford's going to be just behind in 7th place. Paul Goffin has gained 7 places to get up to 8th. He was 15th at the start of this race. See, I can do maths. He's just going to finish ahead of João Estevez in the number 73 car in 9th. And Dan Bathy is just going to grab a top 10. Heinz Mayer just beat Stephen Kershaw to the line as well. And Oliver Ettridge, actually, after a mishap for Andrew Shepherd on the final lap, is definitely going to get that medal for the most places gained, because Andrew Shepherd had gained 8. I think him and Oliver Carwadine have had an issue at some point. Oliver sort of letting him back through, which means Shepherd's gained 7 spots, but Ettridge gains 8, and that means that he has gained the most places in the field. Well, what can you say, though, about Mark Baxter Jones? What an absolutely phenomenal drive that was. From the very start, led the way and did not look back at all. So we'll have a quick look at your results then from that race. Plenty of fun in that one, wasn't it? That certainly flew by. 40 minutes can really go very quickly. Mark Baxter Jones takes the win, though. A 15-second win. What can you say about that? Johnny Elia, 2nd place, though. Makes it a 1-2 for 11/10. Sharkey Esports' Carl Sharkey finishes in 3rd. Brilliant drive by Carl, to be fair. Oliver Ettridge, awesome stuff, up to 4th from 12th on the grid. That's a very, very well-deserved result, that one. Gary Tall finishes 5th, just ahead of Stephen Haley, probably the hardest working driver in that entire race. Byron Crawford finishes 7th, just ahead of Paul Goffin. João Estevez and Dan Bathy both end up with top 10 finishes. Heinz Mayer finishes 11th, just ahead of Stephen Kershaw, with Fausto Pinto 13th and Mike Rowe 14th. Charlie Stout was eventually 15th, with Andrew Shepherd and Oliver Carwadine 16th and 17th. Andrew Soper in 18th position. Andrew Marston, Ralph Mayer and Tom Slater, actually scratch that, sorry. Andrew Marston and Ralph Mayer were 1 lap down. Tom Slater, Mark Johnson and Peter Brill, unfortunately, retiring from the race a bit earlier on. And no Porsche Sport. There is no black and white in this playlist, I'm afraid. I wish there was. But no, there is not. So, we'll have a quick look back then to Dan Bathy, because... Sorry, Dan Bathy. It's a matte black car. Now, one of the first comments I've seen in the Discord channel, where the drivers can all discuss and so on, is just Paul Stout just saying, "Blimey, Mark Baxter Jones." Blimey indeed, son. What a drive that was. What a drive indeed. Now, I'm just going to ask the drivers if anybody wants an interview. And we do actually have a driver in there, which is great to see. Just going to have to make sure I actually change my headset to be this one. So bear with me. But it's great to speak to Oliver Ettridge, who is going to get himself a medal. I'm not sure if he knows it yet, but he's got himself a medal for most places gained in that race. You must be pretty pleased with that, mate.
Yeah, that was a very good race. Just kept out of all the carnage that was going on and found myself in the top 5.
But it's certainly a nice drive up through from 12th on the grid, and it's not an easy place to do it either, is it, Oulton Park? It's very narrow, it's very unforgiving, a mini Nürburgring as it was once described.
Yeah, not many places to overtake around here, and having the tyre barriers right next to the apexes doesn't help.
Yeah, very much so. It's quite a scary little circuit, but I mean this car as well. When you get this car hooked up and you really get it going, it's a real joy to drive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really important to get the balance right in this car. Otherwise, you just I have an issue with just spinning up the rears and looping it every time I exit a corner.
Yeah, it's a bit inviting like that, isn't it? Because when you get a bit of confidence in this car, it feels like you can really just floor it. But, I mean, places like Lodge, Knickerbrook, the Shell Oils Hairpin, they really do invite you in to say, go on, floor it, I dare you. And then before you know it, like you say, the car's around, isn't it?
Yeah, just got to be patient on the fall.
Indeed. Well, it's the second event you've done with us at Sim Racing Magazine and, of course, on Chaz Draycott Media. Have you enjoyed them so far? Would you be up for more, do you reckon?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this one went a bit better than Spa.
Yeah.
I think I looped it 4 or 5 times. Yeah, definitely up for more.
Well, it's been great to watch you, Oliver, and of course a medal and a certificate are on their way to you courtesy of Crockery Direct, because you had the most places gained in the race, so very well done. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Yeah, quick shout out firstly to Charles Rainford for the invite to these races. Sadly, he couldn't make it tonight, but yeah, and thank you to the organisers and sponsors of the event.
Cracking stuff. Well, great to speak to you, buddy. Well done on that result, and I look forward to seeing you on track again soon.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Oliver Ettridge there. Brilliant performance by him. 8 places gained in that one, as I said. Started 12th on the grid, ended up 4th place, just outside of a podium position, but still gets the medal for his hard work. And speaking of those that put in hard work in that race, the man that won it by a considerable margin, Mark Baxter Jones, joins me in the box. Mark, it's the second time you've won one of these, but this time you did it a bit more convincingly.
Yeah, it was a bit smoother than the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, rather than Mr. Povey just trying to chuck it hard on the brakes, it was just solid pace. I mean, we were on board with you for a good half a lap or so near the end of the race, and it didn't look like you slowed down at any point. What was your secret there?
I think for me, it's really just about getting in the rhythm. You know, I do a fair bit of practice, although I didn't start until Sunday for this one. And finding the limits, where can I push it, where can't I push it, when do the tyres go off?
Yeah.
And for me, it's just protecting the tyres. You know, I don't think it's ever got that hot at Oulton Park before in real life, but
no.
Yeah, the tyres were going off at the end, so and I knew that was going to happen, so I just had to protect it, keep it smooth, keep it calm, and just hit the marks and hang in the laps.
And what about the enjoyment factor? I mean, it's a hell of a circuit, Oulton Park. It's a bit of a nightmare, though, from a driving perspective because of how difficult it can be. But I think these cars, they really suit a place like this with all the bumps and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, you either really love it or you hate it, Oulton
Yeah.
Park, to be honest. And I remember the first season at PCGB, I absolutely hated the circuit. But yeah, once you get the flow, once you know where the markers are and you can get into it, yeah, it's super fun. It's probably one of the best circuits on iRacing.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was going to anyway. But either way, it's fantastic to see you doing so well in these, Mark. Do you think if we do another one, you could make it 3 out of 3?
I think it'll be tough. As long as I stay away from Johnny and some of the other guys, then perhaps. But yeah, it's tough getting there.
Well, it's been great to watch, Mark. Very well done, mate. And of course, another certificate and medal, or 2 actually, for fastest lap and winning the race, are on their way to you. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, the usual really. You guys and Andy for pulling this together, so thank you for that.
No worries.
And Johnny and Byron and the guys at 11 Tenths. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of racing together recently, so yeah, brilliant fun with those guys, and yeah, all the help that they provide and support. So yeah, real good fun. Thank you very.
No problem at all. Thank you very much, Mark. Great to speak to you, mate, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, take care. Cheers.
Cheers. Brilliant stuff. A very humble winner there, Mark Baxter Jones. Like he said, it just puts the time in, gets used to how the car behaves and how it changes and when, and off he goes. It was certainly an impressive one. Someone that had a bit of an up and down race that was certainly getting involved in the battles still out there was Charlie Stout. It didn't quite go as smoothly as Spa, Charlie, but it still looked like you had a good bit of racing out there.
Yeah, just a bit of a fun one tonight. I have to admit, I didn't practice a whole lot. So I was kind of expecting that. I've been at work all day, so I'm really tired. That's my excuse.
Well, fair play, mate. Fair play. Every racing driver's got to have an excuse, but qualifying and practice seem to go pretty well. It's just this is a very, very hard track, isn't it? I've just been saying to the other guys as well. It's a very unforgiving place.
Yeah, the off tracks can be really brutal. I mean, you can just put like a couple tyres on the grass and get an off track, and obviously there's not much runoff, so if you do go off, it's all grass, and you can slide quite a lot. So yeah, it's pretty difficult.
And combine that with the fact that the walls aren't very far away at any point in the circuit, really, other than maybe cascades, and it's quite a demanding place to, especially when you're doing a long race as well. It's quite demanding to keep concentrated around here. But I mean, the car handles a circuit like this quite well, doesn't it? With a lot of bumps in it, it's quite a soft, bouncy car.
Yeah, the car. There's nothing really wrong with the car. It's just the track is so difficult because it's. I mean, it's always got chicanes, humps, bumps, grass. Pretty brutal.
You're never really in a straight line, are you, around here?
Yeah. On the first lap, I almost killed a whole load of people. So lucky that didn't actually happen, but.
Yeah, indeed. We had a quick replay of that one as well before, and I mean, the Island Bend up to Shell Oil's hairpin. If you go off there, it's a very scary moment to have, isn't it? How did that feel when you were going off there?
Yeah, I was kind of just hoping and praying that I wouldn't hit anyone, because when you go off there, it's pretty much the only straight part of the track. So when you get on the grass, you're just sliding and you can't stop, and obviously it's on the kink of the corner after, where a lot of people are quite slow, so you can easily collect quite a few cars if you're not too careful.
Well, luckily there was only the tiniest of touches there, and just a little gentle nudge into the barrier, so I'd say you got away with it. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go, mate?
Yeah, my dad. He couldn't make it today, but he's downstairs watching, so hi, Dad.
Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Hello, Mr. Stout. And thank you very much again, Charlie, for joining us tonight in racing. It was great to watch, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Chaz.
Cheers.
Bye.
And we will have one final word with the man that has very kindly offered up some of the prizes for this evening from Crockery Direct, Heinz Mayer. Heinz, that was a race filled with action all over the place from all sorts of people here. Just missed out on a top 10 in the end, though, but you had a hell of a good fight, didn't you?
Oh, yes, definitely, yeah. Dan Bathy really just put the pressure on me towards the closing laps there. Bloody hell.
Yeah, we were loving watching that, to be fair. We watched a lot of it from on board with Dan's car as well, just chasing you through this wonderful and scenic circuit. But, I mean, I'm repeating myself a lot in these interviews, but to be honest, Oulton Park's got so much of a difficult character to it. You can't not talk about it, can you? It's very, very tough around here.
It's really difficult, yeah. It's I'd say this 992 Cup car is a little bit too big for the track. It's just so difficult to pass anyone anywhere. You really have to wait for them to make a mistake.
But still, quite a strong result as well. I mean, from where you started, at least you were 16th on the grid up to 11th. It's always a good day at the office when it's a net gain, isn't it?
Yes, no, definitely. Yeah, I'm really chuffed with my performance. I mean, my qualifying lap was the fastest lap I've ever done around here.
Awesome.
So I suddenly ended up around a load of people I normally don't end up around. So to actually finish in 11th place, sort of, 4 or 5 places up from where I started, I'm really, really happy about that.
Well, that's always good to hear, mate. Always good to hear. Thank you again, of course, to you and, of course, Crockery Direct for supplying the wonderful prizes for this evening. I've been explaining how they're given out over the course of the night. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we let you go?
Definitely, yeah, of course. You and Andy, thank you so much for organising it. It's so cool, and I'm so happy to sort of put something up for it, just make it a bit more real than just sim racing. And of course, Ralph for practicing with me all the time, and sort of particularly gave me a couple of tips on Sunday, which I think sort of took about half a second off my time. So yeah.
Cracking stuff. Well, great to speak to you as always, Heinz. Thank you very much for joining me, mate, and I look forward to seeing you on track again soon. Nice one.
Cheers. Thanks, Chaz.
Cheers. And there we go, everybody. That is, unfortunately, the end of the evening here at Oulton Park. It's gone by very, very quickly. Much like Mark Baxter-Jones. What an incredible drive that was by Mark, winning the race by over 15 seconds from his teammate Johnny Elia. A very dominant drive by the 2:11.10 drivers. Carl Sharkey ends up third, with Oliver Ettridge getting the medal for the most places gained in that race. Not quite sure who got safest driver in the end off the top of my head, I'm afraid. We don't have a way of basically reporting on the incident points straight away. But it's been one hell of a night. We do have an announcement coming up soon from Sim Racing Magazine and myself at Chaz Draycott Media, so do keep your eyes out. But for now, everybody, it is time to end. But thank you very much for everybody that has been watching so far. Thank you, of course, to Sim Racing Magazine and Race at Home as well. Make sure you do check them out once the stream has finished. Gary Tall using one of their rigs tonight, of course. And thank you again to Crockery Direct and everybody else involved in making all of this happen. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been Special Event 2 with Sim Racing Magazine. We'll see you soon.